The federal opposition has attributed the cash rate rise to what it alleges is poor economic management by the Morrison government. But with the Reserve Bank warning of several more rises to come post-election, Anthony Albanese dodged questions if he'd take responsibility for future hikes as Prime Minister.
The first election campaign rate rise since 2007, fuelling Labor's attack.
This is a full-blown cost of living crisis on Scott Morrison's watch, and now interest rate rises are about to be part of the pain.
And Anthony Albanese hoping to inflict that pain on the Prime Minister, rejecting Scott Morrison's suggestion the rate rise shouldn't be viewed through a political prism.
For this guy to say that anything is not political, this is a guy who gets up in the morning and what he has for breakfast is political.
But the Labor leader won't commit to copying the political pain as the Prime Minister of more inevitable rate rises this year.
Will rise today. I've said the Reserve Bank are responsible.
Rise today, it would be a triple whammy under Scott Morrison's watch.
It is just, that is just a fact.
Under your watch then, will it not be a whammy if interest rates rise?
And under our watch, what we have is a plan to reduce costs of living on working families.
The focus on interest rates comes as Labor continues to sell its affordable housing plan.
Tea?
I'll go for coffee, I think.
Anyone else want a tea?
Thank you. I would absolutely love to buy a home in the area. Yeah. It just feels like it's out of reach.
Yeah.
Which is
well, that's what we're trying to fix.
Yeah.
Talking kitchen table economics and his Help to Buy scheme, which would see a Labor government pay up to 40% of the purchase price of a property for 10,000 Australians annually.
This is really targeted at lower middle income earners to get that
Foot in the door.
Foot in the door, you know.
I think it would be amazing.
You need a foot in the door before you can have a roof over your head.
Very true. I think it sounds amazing.
Robertson is Australia's only bellwether seat, meaning the party that wins it has gone on to claim government at every federal election since 1983. Here, housing and cost of living are key concerns. Labor addressing fears someone who inherits a home bought under the shared equity scheme, who earns more than the $90,000 threshold and can't afford to pay it off, would be forced to sell.
When you pass it on to your kids, if they qualify under the eligibility rules, everything's sweet, nothing changes. If they earn more than that, then they start to buy back the government's equity. That's the way it works in the Victorian model. It's the way it works if you go from earning 90 grand to 100 grand or 150 grand. There's a 2-year grace period, then you start to pay it back.
It's certainly a situation where inheritances are threatened by the fact that a Labor government would be sitting there at the reading of the will, potentially forcing the sale of the family home. Now, that's not something that a coalition government would ever support.
Later meeting workers and customers at a pharmacy in the nearby seat of Dobell to hammer his health message. A plan to cut the cost of medicine on the PBS by $12.50 per script.
Yeah. So you pleased with this policy?
Yeah, look, I think anything that brings down the cost of living for those that need it is a good thing.
And with less than 3 weeks until polling day, Labor must seize on the poor economic climate to sell a better vision for the future. Julia Bradley, Sky News on the Central Coast.